All right, welcome back to another episode of Picking with the Professor. Last week was a little tough, folks. We were 2-2 to start our first week at doing this. We go into week 3. I made 3 picks, and I went 1-2. And I tell you this, is that if you want to have fun betting, unlike me, you got to go to mybookie.ag and use the promo code OVERTIME. They're going to match your deposit up to $1,000 on your first deposit. And unlike me, you're going to win more this time because you're going to learn something tonight. You're going to learn to not mess with the Falcons, and also that Dwayne Haskins will ruin your life. And tonight we're going to try to figure out how to do better. It's just a history professor trying to beat Vegas, and I've got Vegas on the phone with me. Raphael Esparza, mybookie.ag. Welcome back to the C3 Panthers podcast, Picking with the Professor.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with 1-2. At least it's not 0-3. So good evening. How are you doing today?
I felt really good last week because I thought the Falcons were a lock, and they were a lock until they weren't. And it turns out you don't mess with the Falcons. Raphael, my friend was telling me this, is that no team in the history of football has blown more than 15-point leads in the fourth quarter more than twice in a whole season. The Falcons did it 2 weeks in a row. I thought -3 of these guys were a lock. Man, it was a total bust. I hope you guys made out, because I certainly didn't.
That game hurt us on the total more than anything. We got pretty much 50-50 on both sides. Atlanta with that soft 3, and then Bear action came in. I mean, it was what it was. I mean, if Trubinsky's the quarterback for all 4 quarters, I don't think that happens. And I think that number might be different if Nick Foles was the quarterback and if it was Trubinsky. So I understand people, they're 0-3, they blew back-to-back leads. This week is going to be different. If they get blown away on Monday night with the Green Bay Packers, then I think Atlanta Falcons has a new head coach. But he won't be the first head coach fired, because let's say if the Jets get blown away on Thursday Night Football by the Denver Nuggets, then I think their head coach doesn't even make it through the weekend.
Adam Gase should not have a job, period. And I tell you this, the Chicago Bears must be the worst 3-0 team in the history of football. But the Falcons' defense may be worse than the Bears.
Falcons' defense is pretty bad. The Cowboys' defense is pretty bad. There's a lot of bad defense. Even the NFL and NBA, I think COVID wiped out defense.
It seems like it. You thought, or not you, but I thought that offenses would be behind and defenses would be ahead. It turns out it's not the case. This is the highest scoring football league you've ever seen. Someone was telling me that the average points right now is like 51 over under. 51. Yeah. Is it wise to take an under at all in this league?
I mean, there's certain teams that play under type games. So I think there is. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens could throw away that game against Kansas City. Before them, they were playing some really good defense. Steelers have only given up 58 points, I think, so far. So there's a couple of teams that I would say yes. The Arizona Cardinals have been playing some pretty good defense. Tampa Bay has been playing some okay defense, even though their offense can put up big numbers. So there's some teams you just have to pick your spots. I mean, I think there's a couple of games I think on the board that I don't think I would want to bet the over. I think we're going to see a lot of defense played in the Baltimore-Washington game, with the total being 46. So there's some games I say yes, but there's some games you can tell me Monday, there's no way I'm playing the under on the Monday night game between the Falcons and Packers.
That would be silly. You're listening to Raphael Esparza, head odds maker from mybookie.ag. Don't forget, go to mybookie.ag. You place a bet. You can feel good about it, and you use the promo code OVERTIME, and you can feel great about it. On the Picking with the Professor podcast, what we're trying to do is we're going to look at the NFC South first. And when we look at the NFC South, I am interested in the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, it's the Carolina Panthers podcast. The Panthers right now plus 3.5 hosting the Arizona Cardinals. The over-under 51.5. I like the Cardinals here. I'm sorry, is that we saw Kyler Murray have his worst game of his career in many ways against the Detroit Lions. Where do you think that this is playing out? Because the Panthers cannot score, man, in the red zone. They kicked 5 field goals against the Chargers. I like the Cardinals here. I think 3.5 is kind of easy.
Yeah, it's a pretty soft 3.5. I understand why the odds makers made it 3.5. But I mean, if Arizona wins that game at home, it comes in perfect. That just tells me that this number is around 4, 5, or 6, pending on the outcome of Carolina last week. So I think it's a soft number at 3.5. But we're getting some buyback on Carolina in this game, so we're sitting pretty right now. I don't see the number moving as of late. I think it's going to stay at 3.5. If something does move, here's another one. Would not be shocked if the total goes under, because you just said it. Carolina cannot score in the red zone, and I don't think Arizona is going to put up 50 points on offense itself.
By themselves,
this
right?
is the one.
Exactly.
This is the one I can see those staying under the total.
Yeah, 51. I tell you this, is I'm worried about any unders that are under 50 at this point. I took a under at 49 earlier in the season, and I was sweating bullets the whole time. So I like the Cardinals here, though. DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray. I won't call it a get-right game for them, but their defense is better. Yes, the Panthers have been competent throughout, but the Cardinals need to get back on track. Now, when you look at the New Orleans Saints heading to Detroit, -4.5, the Saints have been playing poorly in many ways. Is that we expected their defense to be much better. They ran into the juggernaut that is Green Bay. I said stay away from the Green Bay New Orleans game, but I liked Green Bay, right? Is that there's some games I'm just worried about. You don't know. The New Orleans Saints do not have the home field advantage they typically do. But Drew Brees is not the man that he was in the past. I don't trust the Detroit Lions, period, though. This is a game I'm staying away from here. If I had to pick one, I'm kind of thinking the Lions here, 4.5, but I don't want to mess with it.
Yeah, this one's one of the ones you just put a big X and just watch it. I mean, if I had to choose something, maybe pet the over, just because, let's face it, I know everyone's ragdogging Drew Brees. He can't throw long, but I'm sorry. They're losing games to that defense. 37 points by the Packers, 34 points to the Raiders. I'm sorry. Drew Brees, last time I checked, did not give up 71 points on defense in 2 games. So it's all about that defense in New Orleans. If I had to do something, I don't think that defense gets fixed anytime soon. So I would probably look at the over and keep an eye on for the Saints injuries. Jenkins, quarterback, did not practice, ill. Cook didn't practice today, growing. Michael Thomas was at practice, but was just jogging around and, catching some lollipop passes. Is he going to play? If those 3 guys are still questionable or not 100%, boy, then that Lions bet you might want to look at might look pretty good.
The Chargers go to Tampa Bay. The Panthers got their first win against the Los Angeles Chargers. Tampa Bay was the one pick I got right. They were -6, I believe, or -7 last week. They're -7.5 right now against the Chargers. The over-under is 43. I feel like 7.5 is a bit much. It's a little rich for me. I kind of like the over here on 43. But I would almost take the Bucks over 7.5. I'll give me the points and the over here. I'm not right now. The Chargers are dealing with a ton of injuries. The Buccaneers have a good defense. They're maybe starting to click a little bit on offense. Yes, they played the Denver Broncos. I don't know if I trust the Chargers here, but 7.5 is a lot. But the over at 43 is enticing here.
Yeah, it is their first road game in this game, a pretty much true road game. I know they're at Cincinnati, but then they play 2 home games, so it's a bad road trip for them. I like Tampa Bay in this one. I would say wait to see if that half a point gets dropped off and maybe see some road money comes in and maybe just lay the 7. But I agree. I think if you're going to play this game, bet the over. I know last week's game went under, but Denver had a backup quarterback. They had a lot of injuries on the offensive side as well. Saints game for the Bucks went over. Carolina game went over with them. So total's 43 is kind of small. if you're going to play something, I agree with you. I think the total is the best way to go.
The Chargers defense maybe would have held them lesser in the past, but Melvin Ingram on IR, Derwin James out. I think the over is the play here, and that, in fact, I'm going to make that one of my picks this week. All right, the final NFC South game is the Falcons on the road at Green Bay. I don't like any of this. I'm sorry. Look, I think the Packers are the juggernaut right now. I think they are one of the best teams in the NFC. They are playing lights out. If I had to make a pick here, I would take the Packers. But the Falcons can put up points. They are horrific, though. I'm staying away from this one unless I got to bet Green Bay, but 7.5's a lot for me.
Yeah, here's another one. I bet the over at both times that Green Bay had played. I have cash tickets. I'm going to roll it over. Why not? Last 5 meetings between these two teams, all 5 of them have gone over. Last 8 road games that Atlanta Falcons have played, 6 of them have gone over. Aaron Rodgers has pretty much said he's been playing his best football because he's single. He finally mentioned it. He finally said it in an interview, like I've been telling people for months now. Give me the Packers over the total. I think the quarterbacks are going to have field days. I think Matty Ice has a big day through the air, and I think Aaron Rodgers has a big day through the air.
Let's peek around right now. There is a AFC versus NFC matchup. The Colts head to Chicago. They are -2.5 favorites. I think that Chicago has to be the worst 3-0 team in the existence of football. Give me the Colts. I hate Phillip Rivers. Is that, in fact, if you could give me a prop bet of him throwing a fourth quarter interception and looking up to the sky and the heavens saying, how did that happen? I would take it every single time. But the Chicago Bears, their defense is not what we think it is. And maybe if Foles is in there, they're better. But the Colts have good coaching. They have the pedigree of a quarterback, and their defense isn't horrible. I think we've been misled by the Colts a little bit because of week 1. I'll take the Colts here, -2.5.
Yeah, a lot of wise guy money came in on the Bears right away. And then people keep on saying it's the worst 3-0 team that they've ever seen. Well, last time I checked the schedule or the calendar still says 2020. Maybe this Bears team will go 60-0 and win the Super Bowl. Who knows? But I'm going against everyone. I'm going to take the Bears on this one because I'm not sold on the Colts' last 2 wins. Who did they play? They played the Vikings. What are they? 0-3. Who did they play last week? They played the Jets. What are they? 0-3. I think the Bears are going to be rejuvenated now that Nick Foles. People thought in that locker room that Nick Foles should have been the starter, even though Trubisky had so-called had a good spring or whatever practice. But they didn't have any preseason. They didn't have a team to go against him. Maybe Foles would have won that job during preseason football. I like the Bears in this spot.
A lot of AFC, NFC matchups this week. The Cleveland Browns head to Dallas. -5 for Dallas. I don't like the Browns, period. I'm sorry. They could barely beat Washington last week. The Cowboys are a mess, but they are a great mess at the end of the game. I'll take the Cowboys here, -5.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on here, even though my twin brother is a big Dallas Cowboy fan, and I know the Cowboys are 0-3 against the spread, but they win this game and they cover their first game for 2020. I like the Cowboys as well.
We've got the next game is Seattle Seahawks head to Miami. The Seattle's they're the real deal. I know they've given up so many passing yards in the last 3 weeks, but Russell Wilson's unstoppable. 53 points here is a lot. I'd probably stay away from the over on this, but I'm all right with -7 with the Seahawks. I don't like to get involved in games that have a full touchdown spread generally, but if you're going to force me to take a pick here, I like the Seahawks -7.
Seahawks win, but Miami cover because why?
Wow.
There's going to be some probably bad weather in Miami. And the last Miami home game, they almost beat Buffalo, only lose 3 points, and they had a lead in that game. Dolphins keep it close again. I think they lose by another field goal, but they cover this game. I like Miami plus the points.
All right, let's talk about the Patriots heading to Kansas City. Wow, what a exciting game this is. to be honest, after the Kansas City Chiefs performance this past week, I'm a little surprised that it's -7. I don't know what to think about this game. I think the Patriots give teams like this problems. I'm probably going to stay away from this one myself.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit back, open up, maybe make some good nachos, pour myself a drink, my first drink maybe for the week, and just sit back and watch it. Because I don't know. I want, my heart is telling me take New England plus the points. My wallet is telling me we're going to see a lot of points scored like we saw with New England and the Raiders and New England and the Seahawks, bet the over. So I'm just going to sit back. Short week for Kansas City. It tends to mess up teams. I'm just going to sit back and watch this. I think we're going to see a lot of points scored in this game, though.
All right, final game that we're going to talk about here. Philadelphia goes to San Francisco. Two NFC teams meet up. One, the Philadelphia Eagles we thought would be better than they are. They are pretty bad at this point. San Francisco 49ers have had their share of injuries, and when I say their share of injuries, I mean the entire damn team. +7 for the Eagles here. I don't think the Eagles are that bad. I mean, I know they're bad, but I don't like this. I think San Francisco, they went up against a Giants team that is terrible. They've played the Jets. That's terrible. I'm taking the Eagles on the road +7 here.
Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping the WNBA finals would be at the same time so I can watch that game. Maybe I'll watch baseball. But, man, this is a horrible NBC game. 0-3, 0-1-2, bunch of injuries from San Francisco. Kittle is probably still going to be out. I don't know. I mean, are the Eagles that bad? Trump said yesterday nothing goes right in Philadelphia. Look what happened to Philadelphia. The Flyers, the Phillies, the 76ers. Maybe they'll get the new head coach from the Clippers. But I think the 49ers win this one. I think the Eagles are in for a very, 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 very long season.
Wow. The San Francisco 49ers have no players left. I don't know anybody on their team.
I just think there's a lot of finger pointing in that locker room on some of the moves they made the last couple of years. I think it's starting to haunt them. I think the players are starting to lose respect for management and coaches. I'm hearing it's a complete mess in Philadelphia right now.
You got all right. So just one more thing on that is the over is 46 here. I don't feel good about that. I'm staying away from. I mean, 46 is low in this NFL, but right now neither of these teams have their parts and they're not clicking. I just don't. This might be the under I'd take, but I'd stay away from it.
It looks like it's just because the people are going to say, oh, look at San Francisco's got some really good defense. Yeah, they played the Jets and Giants the last 2 weeks, and they held them both to only 22 points. But look at those two teams that they played.
They're terrible.
I would also stay away on this total. Again, this might be the one that maybe you just read the box score and maybe watch some baseball playoffs.
All right. That's our segment, Picking with the Professor with Raphael Esparza, mybookie.ag. Tell them, hey, look, the MLB playoffs started today, right? Or I think it was today.
Started
yesterday. The Braves went to extra innings today. Where do these guys – what do they need to do? They need to go to MyBookie, and what can they bet on these days? It's a crazy time for sports.
Yeah, you can bet college football. SEC's around. It started. Big Ten, Pac-12 getting ready to start. We have a full slate of NFL action. We might even have a Tuesday NFL game this week if the Steelers-Titans move their game to Tuesday. I'm hoping they do so we can have more things to do, more football to watch. It'll be almost like a MAC action game on Tuesday. So don't go over to mybookie.ag sign up today. Get that 100% sign-up bonus.
Oh, I forgot. I ask you a question each week, and I forgot to ask it. What's the sucker bet this week?
Ooh, the sucker bet this week. I'm going to probably stay in the NFL, and I'm just going to say it. Why not play the over in a Monday night game? I mean, every Monday night game seems like they have a lot of points scored. Green Bay, all they do is just put up 30-plus on points on the board. Bet the over. I mean, why not? Until Aaron Rodgers and Matty Ice and that defense of Atlanta tells me something different, I'm going to continue hitting that over button.
All right. You heard Raphael Esparza all night. We differed a little bit this week. But, you probably need to listen to him, not the history teacher trying to beat Vegas. Thanks, Raphael. We'll catch you next week.
Take it easy. Have a fantastic weekend and stay safe.
All right, it was a tough week for the professor last week. Went 1-2. Screw the Falcons. Screw Dwayne Haskins. We got to make up some room this week. I'm only going to do 3 picks this week. Kind of playing it safe here. When I say playing it safe, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Help this history teacher beat Vegas. These are my picks. I need you guys to get in the chat room, in the comments below. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button. Send me a tweet at @cat_chronicles and tell me who your locks this week are. For me, the Colts going on the road. I know it's on the road, but does the road really matter? It didn't matter when crowds were there. Now they're going to Chicago. Chicago has to lose at some point. Give me the Colts -2.5. The Cardinals head into Carolina. Look, I hate picking against the Panthers, but the Cardinals going to get back on track here, I think, is that offense is a little bit too much for the Panthers secondary to handle. I don't know if the Carolina Panthers pass rush truly is there enough to mess with Little Mighty Mouse. Give me the Cardinals -3.5. And I can't even give them the Eagles. I'll just call them the Eagle since I misspelled it in the professor's pick. But the Eagles, come on. At some point, they have to win. And at some point, the San Francisco 49ers, the injuries have to keep up. 7 points is a lot for me. I know Raphael said the Eagles are a mess. I know that they're having a lot of problems on the offensive line. But the 49ers are not who they used to be. And who knows who the quarterback is? Who knows anybody on their team? Give me the Eagles +7 here. All right, you've heard it. Picking with the professor, a history teacher trying to beat Vegas. I need your help. Go ahead and jump in the comment section on YouTube. Let me know what your picks this week are. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Where's Raphael right and wrong? How do you beat Vegas? On top of that, don't forget, Panthers podcast, the C3 Panthers podcast live 9 p.m. Tuesday nights. And we got the post-game show directly after the game. You can call in to the C3 Panthers podcast at 252-228-5098. Come on, help me out. I need y'all's help. 1 and 2. We learned a lot, though. The Falcons, don't ever bet on the Falcons. And B, Dwayne Haskins is who they said he was. We'll check you out next week.